It's not like the house production company. You push on a button and then a house pops out. It's exactly the same as in clothing. But people don't think about it because they think, well, it's a t-shirt. It's 10 euros, for example.
Welcome. So I think it's now the 7th podcast, and this one is going to be a little bit different because first of all, this one is in English. It's not Niels and myself anymore, and we are at the moment at the factory. Yeah. Daniel's with us, and Steven is with us, and Niels again, of course.
Yeah, usual guest. So today we're hosting from a fabric manufacturer. Am I correct? A family company we work together with for a lot of our textile productions, and I thought it was very interesting to see how textile is made. Just talk a bit about that, and maybe the 5 most common misconceptions. So what the regular folks think about how clothing is made and how we do it. It's completely different what most people think, and we're going to discuss some of these points today.
Yeah, and we are going to start like normally. We always start with a drink.
Yeah. So, can you tell us about the beer today, Daniel?
Well, the fun fact is that most of the beers in Poland, they are called from the name of the town they are made in.
Okay.
So the Łomża we are drinking now is actually the city, and actually most of beers in Poland, they are called with the name of the city that they are made in.
Okay. Well, that's actually a nice fact. So
yeah.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
On a good podcast today.
So number 1, I think this is one of the biggest misconceptions about our industry, and that's that everyone thinks everything is automated.
Yeah, so basically you push a magical button and a ready-made t-shirt or hoodie pops out.
Yeah, we wish it was like that. It should be, however, it's actually impossible, and I think within the next couple of hundred of years it won't be doable because no one ever found a machine who can create our ideas and our imagination from scratch in terms of textile and garment production.
How many people would you say are involved in the making of one t-shirt? Like all manufacturers, all sewing ladies, printing houses?
Well, starting from growing the cotton, ending up on ironing and packing and shipping it to the customer, I would say it's at least tens of people, 50, 60 or 70 people in many industries that we cannot even imagine of are included in production of one t-shirt.
Okay, that's great. I think most people never think of this.
They don't have a clue.
No. Well, we're at a factory. What part of the supply chain are we now? So what does this factory do?
Fabric manufacturing is the middle of the process. Starting from growing the cotton, picking up the cotton, turning cotton like the flour into the yarn. Then we get a yarn, and out of the yarn, as you can see, we can make the fabric.
Yeah, so this is a yarn?
Yeah, we have it.
This is a yarn.
Yarn, actually. It's just like a thread. And all, when you like connect them together, they make a fabric. Of course, there are many different ways of doing that. We are in the knitting factory, so we mainly get fabrics from here because we mainly use the knitted fabric for hoodies, t-shirts, sweatpants, or wherever, all kind of casual wear mainly. And as I said, it's a middle of the process, and after the fabric is done, we have to have it finished because just making it on the machine won't make the fabric ready to make the garment. Then it goes to the finishing plant where fabric is dyed and finished to our standards. Because we have high standards, we use really good quality finishing to our fabrics. We can make sure that they can last longer and they will not peel after a while. And then, of course, when the fabric is ready, when it's dyed, we cut it. After we cut it, we decorate it. We screen print on. We put embroidery or whatever, and then we sew it.
And that's all hand done, right?
And that's all made by hand.
Yeah. So the idea of a clothing factory really is like 10 different factories all working together with their own specializations.
Exactly. There is no factory in the world that would do all of those steps in one place. It's just simply impossible. There are companies who are specialized in producing fabrics. Then there are companies who are specialized in finishing the fabrics. And then there are companies that are specialized in cutting the fabrics and sewing the fabrics. Usually they are together, but sometimes not. There are some companies who only cut, and there are companies who only sew, so they also combine their work together. Then if it's like cut, then we send it to the printing company, and it's always different companies. So it's not there is no one company in the world who makes it all under one roof.
It's funny because many of our clients think that the design that we make, that we put it in like a machine, just press on a button, and that exactly shirt or hoodie is coming out of the machine.
No.
But it's the opposite.
No, it's opposite. No, it's just impossible. Simply impossible. I really wish myself to have a machine like this. But unfortunately...
that would make your work a lot easier.
Maybe we can make one, then we will get billionaires.
And what part of the whole process is done by machine?
Well, at this time, in 21st century, the cotton picking is usually made by machines. There are like tractors who does that. Then the yarn is made by machine because we cannot manually make the yarn out of the cotton.
With this machine? No, it's not a machine.
No, this is not a yarn machine. Then when we have the yarn, you have like hundreds of those threads, yarns, and hundreds of those they will make the fabric, and that's also a machine. And there's plenty of machines, but they are all operated manually.
Yeah, it's real expertise.
Yes, everyone needs to do exactly what they're doing. Mm-hmm. Sewing people, sewers, seamstresses, they will never make a fabric, and fabric makers, the knitters, they will never sew. So there's a lot of professions included in.
Well, you could compare it to building a house. Like you have the people doing electricity and laying bricks and doing the plumbing, and like the architect designs the house and the client orders it, but there are so many people involved in this. There's not like the house production company. You push on a button and then a house pops out. It's exactly the same as in clothing, but people don't think about it because they think, well, it's a T-shirt, it's 10 euros, for example. Well, it's not because it's not expensive that there's not a lot of people working on it.
There's a lot of people working on it, and there is a lot, even for a simple T-shirt, there is a lot of factors that can go wrong.
I think the most important one, not the most important one, but an important one is that people think that the sewing part is done by machines as well. But there are like literally people sewing all the fabrics together.
Yeah, exactly. Sewing is basically connecting the cut pieces. And then you cannot simply automate it because you need a common sense and you need thinking to do it. When we have a patterns created, we have on every pattern we have little cuts on the sides. So, for example, for the front of the T-shirt and the back of the T-shirt, we will have little tiny cuts on the edges, so the seamstresses know that this should be connected together. So, for example, in the T-shirt there can be 2 points that they should follow. The main thing is it has to be followed, because if they pull one layer or other layer too much, then it will twist, and the final product will not look good. So there is a lot of factors that can go wrong, and everyone needs to think what they're doing.
It's funny, I think that one is a good bridge to the second one, and that's about the size charts, because everyone thinks that there's just one size chart used in the whole world. Like a medium is a medium if you are in the Netherlands, Belgium, or Poland, or whatever.
No. We can have, by sitting here, we can have 4 different size charts. I wish I would be size medium, and I can create my own size chart and call it okay. Unfortunately, at the moment is extra large or double extra large, depending who makes the clothes. But I wish that would be medium. And I will just swip it, I will just change it and make it medium. Same for you, and for you. Every different country. Sorry.
It's basically what they did in the United
see.
States. It's basically what they did in the United States. Just moving over one size. And we even adapted our size charts based on feedback from the Netherlands. So we, even at Merchandise Essentials, we use different size charts depending on the country we are selling the merchandise to.
Yeah.
Or just the wishes of the customer.
Yeah. Like, because the idea oversized, there's nothing like an oversized size chart. It's basically a regular size chart where you move these small dimensions so it feels like oversized.
Yeah.
And people never think that it's actual manual work of very smart, skilled people to create these size charts.
Yeah.
That it feels like, well, if you would only, for example, change the length of the t-shirt from small, medium, large, and extra large, you would have like very strange shaped t-shirts.
Yeah.
And it's
Slim
not
fit.
like, that's slim fit or urban fit or whatever name all these clothing manufacturers think of. Basically, it's just to give their own size chart a name. And for a lot of businesses, it's like mostly fashion businesses, it's a bit of the holy grail, because the moment you see like, okay, in this brand I have a really comfortable M, they kind of lock you in, because all their t-shirts, most of them have the same size chart.
Yeah.
So it's like brand loyalty in, well, this t-shirt fits perfectly for me.
Yeah, and that's really important actually.
Yeah.
And it's, as you say, every different country has its own size chart. We have some standards, like Germany is commonly used in, for example, in Germany and in Poland, we mainly use German size charts. But every different country has its own. Medium in Europe will be completely different to medium in States, and completely different in medium in Asia.
And every brand chooses its own
It depends
size
on
chart.
the style. It depends on the style you want to create. You
Yeah.
can make your own measurements or whatever.
And sometimes, what is also important, size chart needs to be adjusted to the fabric features.
Yeah.
If we
That's
use
the main thing.
if we use the specific fabric that was requested by a customer, and we know that shrinkage can be higher than standard, or there will be no shrinkage, then we also need to readjust the size chart.
So basically what you're saying, a medium t-shirt and a medium sweater have a different size chart because the fabric is different.
Exactly.
Yes.
Fabric
Even
is
if you make
thicker.
a t-shirt in polyester and one in cotton with the same size chart, the fitting will be different.
Yeah, but nobody realizes this.
Yeah, and there is one more thing I will tell you. The pattern for t-shirt and pattern for shirt will be completely different, because we have jersey fabrics, like you are wearing now, and we have woven fabrics like I'm wearing. Yeah. And that's a completely different story.
And then you have like stretching fabrics. You have like viscose. You have all these different blends.
Yeah.
And people say, okay, I just want this fitting from this t-shirt. They randomly bring in, and then we have to create like hours of work of creating, testing, fitting it, because it's like, it's a feeling. It's not an exact science.
Yeah.
I even heard that sometimes it depends on the temperature where the goods are processed.
Yeah, that also has
so
an
if
impact.
it's like a heat wave, that the fabric will react different than when it's -10 in winter.
Yeah, that's also true. And then the good example would be, imagine your t-shirt sewn in the woven fabric, using exactly the same size chart, exactly the same pattern. You won't be able to put it on.
Because it doesn't stretch.
Doesn't stretch. It's just impossible to do. That's why we don't have t-shirts made of woven fabrics. It's just impossible. Well, everything is possible, but you won't feel comfortable and you wouldn't like to wear it.
If people should know the whole process, there would be more more appreciation for the work we do. I think.
Definitely. I think it's for all industries, but this one
that's
is,
true.
unfortunately, it's not an easy industry.
And the idea is like all this knowledge is so, I would even say, lost almost. They don't teach this anymore in school. The only way to get all this knowledge is years and years of experience. And sadly, in Europe, well, this experience is fading, basically. And well, I would say it's almost one of our main goals is to keep it here and to keep the textile industry flourishing in Europe and keep the knowledge here by keeping these people working and
hopefully
enough orders.
Hopefully it will change. I know there are some initiatives already to restart the education of knitting, weaving, sewing, and all kinds of professions that are necessary to produce clothing, but unfortunately it takes too long. One day we will wake up and there will be no solution to make it around us.
So if you would summarize this in one sentence,
let's educate ourselves in textile production.
And the
I think that could
misconception-
be a very nice idea for Merchandise Essentials, basically, is just to educate more. What we're trying to do in podcasts like these. I think we're the only textile company in the world who's so transparent on everything. Because everybody's hiding everything, so you couldn't do it yourself. But the idea is you can't do it yourself. Just find a trustworthy, good party that communicates with you.
Exactly.
And is transparent on what you're doing, even size charts. It's not a secret, it's just a couple of measurements.
Yeah.
And developing them is just a skill we have, and well, we kind of sell the skill to our clients, and that's how we make a living, basically.
Yeah.
And that's a good one for the third one, because the third one is that not everyone can go to a manufacturer.
What do you mean by that?
Directly.
Directly.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I say, hey, imagine that someone would just call you and say, well, if they call you, they order with us, so that's possible. But basically, you used to be a textile
Of course.
producer, so you had your own sewing house.
It's not like everyone thinks. The textile industry is quite hermetic. It's a closed environment. So it's the most important thing that everyone should know, that it's very dangerous to get into the industry without a deep knowledge. Without knowing how everything works, it can be extremely dangerous and it can cost a lot of money if you invest and if you don't know what you're doing. I wouldn't get myself into the automotive industry, and I wouldn't try even to produce cars.
Just like calling
Because everyone
BMW
else
and saying, well, I have this design for a car.
Exactly.
Can you make it, please?
Well, that would be the solution. Well, they wouldn't do it probably, but that's a solution, to use someone who is really experienced.
Yeah.
And also the companies that are specialized in their own profession, they will never sell you the knowledge.
No.
Because they keep it as a secret. They have their own secrets, their own solutions and ways of working and keeping the quality at the high standards.
What we are doing, we'll probably get some haters somewhere. The industry never likes to have some people.
Well, we were
talking
only
about it.
allowed to be here in the factory because we have cooperated with the fabric manufacturer for years. And that's why they know us, they trust us, they know that we are trustworthy. So they did let us in. And as you can hear, the production is running.
Exactly.
But that's a long-term cooperation, and we earned it. We really earned it. So
You had the experience from the other side. You did get your own fashion brand. You went to a production company that looked like they did everything because that's the idea they give.
Yeah.
And what were your experiences?
It's funny because I see the other side now. But that's what when I started my brand, I thought, okay, it's easy because this is my design. You just have to produce what I'm giving you. But it wasn't like that because there were so many different factors that I even didn't know. I remember that they asked my size chart. I said, size chart? What's that? Like, just take a medium, just give me a large, just give me an extra large, and that's it. But yeah, I didn't know that I had to make my size chart myself. And I think because I did that, I learned a lot about it. But I wouldn't advise anyone to do that way. So if someone is going to start a clothing line and they want to go straight to the manufacturer, what would you say to them?
What I would say, don't do it yet, because it's not as easy as it looks like. As you said, there is a lot of factors that we are not aware of. Mm-hmm. Size chart is just a basic detail that probably you could Google that and choose one of the favorite high street brands and use the same. But to make a simple t-shirt, we need to know what we want. As we, like a couple of minutes ago, we spoke with the owner of the factory. There are a couple of types of rib that you use for the t-shirt. We can use 1-1 rib, 2-1 rib, 2-2 rib. And do you think people or someone without any experience would know what they are talking about?
Yeah, because manufacturers will also never explain it. So they just ask, what do you want?
Yeah.
And I will produce it because they don't trust you. They kind of really don't care about your project because it's not their job. Their job is to produce the perfect product that you are requesting.
Yeah.
And, well, maybe that's something we shouldn't talk about. But in the business, there are also a lot of shady companies. Which basically look for unknowing starting clothing brands.
Yeah.
And that's their business.
And there was Niels.
And there was Niels as well. So.
Well, on the other hand, rib is only one thing, but cotton. You have cotton and cotton. You can have a shitty cotton that's like some brands use. After one washing, it will shrink. Mm-hmm. And then you have a really good cotton that won't shrink. And on the other hand, no one will take responsibility of that. If you go there and you ask them, please, if there is a company, shady company, or even not, they won't take responsibility of that because you bought the fabric and you did it yourself.
Exactly.
That's why there are companies like us
who take on the risk.
We take the risk. Yeah. We know which cotton to use. We know manufacturers, and we know who we can trust.
Yeah.
So
and then we were talking fashion, but like fashion, the only thing is they care all day about this product. What if you're a company with one project a year or two projects? You don't have the time and the money to take a risk on all these projects. If you have like a yearly team building and you want to create some awesome merchandise for the whole team, just come to a party like us. We will make sure that you get exactly what you want without all the risk, problems, knowledge, and well, time basically.
That's why we have departments.
Yeah.
We have people specialized in production, we have people specialized in designing, operations, and we combine it together.
Yeah.
A simple company that it's on its own and it's, for example, a car dealer and wants some merch, they don't need to, well, they shouldn't even create a clothing production department because they want 200 t-shirts for their customers. It's a waste of time to get all the knowledge because there are certain people that do it. Like, this is exactly what we do. We don't want to start fabric production.
No.
It's not our job. We have trust to our manufacturers. We don't want to start screen printing company because it's not our job. We chosen the best players on the market and we combine them together, and this is how we do it. Everyone is specialized. So if a car dealer knows how to sell cars, just sell cars.
Yeah. And if they want merch, just order it with us.
Yeah.
Or even a company like us, I would say.
It's like that, yeah.
And the idea, focus on your core business and make sure that everything's okay. And
Let's go to the next one. I think, Stephen, this one is a nice one for you as well. Samples, just producing one piece. It's easy.
Is it?
Well, I think the whole conversation is like that. Everything looks easy, but until you make everything, or just try to make one piece because it's the most complicated to do. It's a one piece before you do the bulk. So people think, okay, I will order a bulk order, let's say 500 pieces, and they expect the first piece to be ready like next week or whatever. But it takes more time to make one piece, so we have like 3-4 weeks for that one piece. And if everything is approved by the customer, or we have to do some small adjustments, that's also possible. But it's easier to do the bulk, like in 3-4 weeks, than making one sample, because everything has to be ready. All fabrics, all zippers, all labels, everything, pattern, sewing, has to be done for one piece. So it's very time consuming and very expensive. But that's the service we provide, to have the best sample and the bulk, of course.
Exactly.
And a lot of things that you cannot make just one piece of. So, for example, the labels.
Yeah.
It's not possible to make just one label.
Yeah. Or even the fabric.
Yeah,
you cannot make 1 meter of
If you
fabric.
basically look at this machine, and you would make the fabric for one T-shirt, it's like setting up the whole machine, making 1 or 2 meters of fabric, and then sewing it. It's like the same work for these 2 meters as for kilometers of this fabric.
Exactly.
That's the idea. People always think, oh, it's a lot, will production handle? Well, they love producing high volumes because they can just put all these automatic flows on. If you would like to say, oh, I want to order 100 t-shirts, but every size chart for every t-shirt has to be different, well, then
samples.
Yeah. And then there are samples, and it's a big problem. And it's like, nobody is in the whole world is just, a sample is always a loss, basically. So it's like, or we take the price, or one of our suppliers takes the price, but somebody has to pay a sample.
Yeah.
Sample is an investment.
It's not profitable, basically.
Yeah.
And imagine like the process, okay, you have the fabric needs to be cut for just one piece.
Yeah.
That one piece fabric has to go to the printer or embroiderer, and then it has to go to the sewer. How many people are working on one piece?
Yeah, well, and the most expensive is preparation, the software or hardware, readjusting the machines, setting up the machines. That's the most expensive things. And if you do it for bulk, it's a one-time cost divided by 100, 200 t-shirts.
Well, and then the biggest problem in all this is, well, sometimes the client says, oh, really nice, but could you just make it a little bit wider? And just the print a little bit bigger. Yeah. So this means that everything in the whole process changes, and every setup, digital file, has to be done
Screens,
again.
Everything.
So it's like, it feels like a very small change for the client, but again, if we change it to building a house, it's like, well, it's nice, but could you make it like 5 centimeters wider?
Yeah. After it's already built.
Yeah, so it's completely starting over again.
Starting all over again, exactly. Yeah.
So that, I think that's like the best way to explain it also to a client. Like, compare it to a house, and like what may seem like a very small change is actually changing the complete project, house, t-shirt, sweater. Yeah. But we do it. Sometimes if it's necessary, we will do it. Because it's better to have a sample confirmed than make 10,000 pieces that are wrong.
Well, of course. To be honest, I know the samples are painful, but that's the best way to work. If we have a sample prepared, we explore everything in the beginning on one piece.
Yeah.
Then we cut it, we print it, we sew it, and we can find all issues on one piece. Yeah. So there's nothing really, not a lot of factors that can surprise us during the bulk production.
If an order is confirmed, that's the first step we do. We first start with a sample, but we won't make a sample before an order is confirmed, because that's the other way around.
Yeah.
So that's our strength, that we can actually give the sample to the customer for approval to make a bulk order.
Yeah.
So I think that's also quite unique what we do. Other suppliers would never do that.
No.
Right. It's time consuming. Honestly, samples, they take a lot of time, and it's only for one piece, but then it's safer to do it, and it's quicker to make bulk after a sample. Yeah. So I would suggest to do samples, and then this is the correct way. Sometimes, of course, there's no time. we need to base only on our experience.
And there's some easy projects as well. So if you're just ordering 200 t-shirts and you felt the fabric in one of our showrooms, and you know what kind of embroidery we do,
and you
nothing
pick our
can go
size
wrong.
set,
Yeah,
that's
so-
basic knowledge. But
So it's not that we always have to make the samples, but for the most complicated projects, it's easy to do.
Yeah.
Easy to do. It's doable.
It's doable, yeah.
It's not easy to do,
No,
but it's
that's what I
doable.
said.
you can come help next
If we
time to
get-
make a sample.
Say it again in the micro so they understand.
It's not easy.
Cool, and this brings us to the last point, and that's what people think is that the work environment is really bad in the whole textile industry. It's funny because I was with a friend last time, with a guy that I know, and he asked me what we did. So I said we produce merchandise. And then he said all the Alibaba stuff.
No.
That's what they think, and that the work environment is really bad everywhere.
No, that's not true, actually. We do all of our garment in Europe. And we are transparent with that. Therefore, European Union has the standards that every company needs to follow. So there is no chance that any standards can be broken and treated, and not even followed.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say it. We do everything according to the standards. And also, of course, there is some waste created. We use a lot of water to produce garment, and it's not a secret because you can Google that. But we need to answer ourselves the question: what would we do without clothes? That needs to be done, and if they needs to be done, it's better if they are done under a supervision than unsupervised somewhere else.
Correct.
But we are really checking what we do with, for example, all the fabric pieces that we have left.
Yeah.
That we bring them to a dog shelter.
Exactly. We make a dog beds for the shelters of left pieces of fabrics that are, the waste of the cutting.
Yeah.
So
that's like the ecological part.
Yeah.
But if we just take like a helicopter view and we produce in Europe, it's not like China where you have millions of workers who are happy to have a job. There's a lot of work here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good work here.
Yeah.
So this means that we have to make working in textile attractive. Not only wage, but circumstances, even passionate about the product. It's not like, well, we have work and you may be happy that you can work here. That's like 200 years ago in Europe.
Yeah.
Or maybe 100 years ago in Europe. Well, some things still exist in Asia, and that's why you sometimes have bad working conditions there, because there's no work and you can't complain or you lose your job, basically. Here, as you heard Daniel say, we are very happy that we find people that can work in textile, so they have the skill set, so you have to be attractive to work for them. It's also a workers' market. It's an employee market, not an employer's market. So this means basically in market economics that you have to be attractive to work for.
Yeah.
So it's totally different, like what most people think of production in Europe, basically.
Even the room we're sitting now, there's a daylight, there's a proper lighting, so everything is, up to the standards.
Yeah.
We cannot just work in the basement.
Yeah, it's not. In Belgium, you still have factories without daylight, basically. It's still a factory, so it's not like sitting all day in a spa.
Yeah.
But the work has to be done,
Yeah.
but it's all perfect working conditions.
Yeah.
They have to keep their people because they aren't making any new textile employees. And
working conditions are really important nowadays.
Yeah.
Really important.
And we see everything, we control everything, we know all our suppliers.
Yeah.
If you do it on Alibaba, you don't even know what supplier it is, who's working there. What
Well, we
conditions
visit
they're in.
our suppliers like now.
Yeah.
We visit screen printing, we visit embroidery, we visit fabric manufacturers, we visit sewing houses.
almost every 2 weeks because we have to pick up stuff, talk there. We have an office here in Łódź where we produce basically. Why? Because we work so closely together and manage everything.
It's to order and we cannot reuse it or even make a sample for other customer because it was made for customer A.
Yeah.
So what we do, we just cut it to smaller pieces, we just sew it, fill it with the waste of fabrics, little pieces, and then we end up with the bed dog. Sorry, dog bed.
But it's really nice because it's like out of the box thinking. How can we make this waste useful?
Yeah.
I think that's something maybe in the whole company that we do more and more, and just to keep, like, even make your waste valuable. Keep adding value on every front, and well, if it can help some dogs and it can help the shelters that the dogs are a bit more comfortable, why would you throw your fabric away?
Exactly, and there's a lot of ways, trust me. There is a lot of solutions to use the fabric. Yeah. Also, what I noticed, sometimes the fabrics, they have edges, and the edges have to be cut away. So, we don't do it, but I know that it's being used. Some companies buy it, and they actually make some pots, fabric pots and stuff like this. So you can, when they knit it or something, and you can just buy it online.
Yeah, cool.
Okay.
So honestly, there's many ways to
we are
make
sustainable,
less waste.
So that's one way to do that. So.
Yeah, and the idea is, well, basically, producing in Europe, our clients are in Europe, it's always more sustainable by producing it in Europe, basically, because it has to travel a lot less.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's not working conditions or whatever included. It's basically the distance of having to put something on a boat for 2 months. Just changes everything, basically.
And also, we are located in Łódź for a reason. We have everything here. So that helps us to make it quicker, with less waste, less pollution, because everything is like made local by experienced companies.
Cool, I think we are almost at the end of the podcast. At every end we are doing a giveaway. This one we don't have a physical one, but we want to give one design away. So you can win a design made by us, by one of our designers.
And this is the cotton we will use. So probably your t-shirt or whatever, or will be made of this yarn.
Just comment what misconception you thought was the most recognizable one, and then we will choose one.
Yeah.
Perfect. I like this one. It's a really good one.
So I think we talked about a really serious topic.
Yeah, it is serious. People should know what's behind manufacturing clothing.
Nobody should hide it. Not everything is perfect, but we are working so hard to make everything better every day, and it shouldn't be hidden anymore. Not for fashion brands, not for merchandise manufacturers. Everybody should be clear about where they produce it, what they use, how it's made. Even for our clients, if there's any doubt, come over. We have an office here. We can visit suppliers. It's just so transparent, and I think that gives so much trust to people who are skeptic about the business. And well, to be honest, it's our own fault, basically. Well, not maybe our fault, but the business is at fault that everybody's skeptic. So we will do everything in our power to make it more transparent and make it more sustainable.
Say cheers to that.
Yeah.
Cheers to that.
Cheers,